Okay, we're going.
G'day, how are you? We're here today to show our staff how to knock a bat in. This video will be posted on YouTube, so I'm sure our customers will appreciate what lengths we go to when they leave their bats with us. I'm Wilston and this is how we knock bats in. Firstly, we start with a run sheet which covers the days that we do knock bats in. So starting obviously today is Monday, we'd put the day we start, and on this day we roll the bats, we oil them, and on day 2 we oil the bats and we start knocking the bats in. So firstly I put one of these on, putting the date, Monday, and I sign it. So I am responsible from this day onwards for this bat. Next step, we see how hard this bat needs to be rolled. Some bats are very heavily pressed in the factory and don't require any further rolling. Just a simple 3 taps tells me that this bat's fairly hard, so it doesn't really need a roll, but I will give it a hand roll to compress the edges. So what I'm trying to do here is, see this sharpened edge here? I'm trying to flatten that out. So if you get a ball when the bat is new, you won't get a crack. You can just see this on this edge here. If you can see that edge, how it's slightly rounded. So from tomorrow onwards we'll work on those edges, and 6 inches from the toe, that's the area we'll be knocking in, concentrating on those areas. We do have a Kingsgrove warranty sticker, and this is the time it goes on the bats before we oil it. We need to treat the willow with oil before we start knocking the bats in. At our Penrith shop we use a brush, but you can use a rag, a soft rag, a little bit of chamois, but anything just to control where you're putting the oil on. Trying to avoid the stickers as much as possible. Why we do this, it actually protects and preserves the bat, stops it drying out too quickly, especially in the Australian summers. You need to oil your bat when it's new, at least 1 or 2 times to stop it drying out, and then you don't have to oil it for another year. Try and clean up as much as possible to balance, so we don't get any excess oil penetrating those stickers. Okay, so that's day one. Day one done. So I keep that there. Day two. So that was done yesterday. What we're going to do with this bat is test it again. Same thing, 3 light taps in the middle. And it's still soft. It's not soft, it's quite hard. So this has had an oil. What we're going to do today is start the knocking in process. So I will tick again, like I did with the other bat. And start the knocking in. Now because it's got oil on it, and I certainly don't want to mess my jacket up, I'll put something under it just to hold it. Now what we're trying to do, like we did yesterday, is work on that edge, rounding the edges off and working on that edge. So the more time we spend on it, and when you get this back from us, we'd like you to continue doing this. So not physically on the edge of the bat, but compressing the edge, face bat only, face of the bat only. Starting off lightly because this is day one. Concentrating on getting away from the edge. So we're just trying to round that edge. Most bats these days have a flat face, and if a flat face bat, the ball hits it, you'll take some of the willow with it, so that more time you spend on it, compressing that edge, rounding that edge, the better chance you'll have when you face a leather ball that it won't crack. Now I'm talented, so I can use both hands. I'm going to do the other side. So can you see that, Robbie? That edge is slightly rounded, and that edge is a little bit more sharper. So what we're trying to do is take that sharpness off. And obviously working on this toe as well. Why we do that, I mean, you get a Yorker 9 out of 10 times, if the bat's not properly knocked in, it will crack. So the more time you spend on that toe, the bottom 6 inches, the better. Now this is day one, so as we progress through the days, we'll get more and more force put on it, and the rounder it will be. And the motion is away from the bat, but on the face, using the flat part of the mallet. Now for this purpose, I'm just going to lightly oil the face and the edges. And that's day 2 done. Obviously we need to spend a little bit more time on it, but for the purposes of this video, that's 5 to 10 minutes, that's what you need to do per day. I'm going to redo the edges as well. It does have oil on it, so I'm just going to use that rag again. And the toe. So that's day 2 completed. Now, should we need to roll the bat, I'll open a new bat here. And this is the new Oblivion E41 850 for 2005-2016. As you can see, it's fairly, the edges are fairly rounded, and grey nickels do use a boning tool when they finish bats, so they get a nice finish on it. But I'll give it a little test just to see if it needs a roll. And this one's got a slight ding in it, so what we need to do is give it a slight roll. The softer the bat, the better the ball comes off it. This is a hydraulic press, and what we're trying to do here is compress the fibres of the bat, so when you first start off you won't experience those seam marks as often as what happens if you don't have a bat rolled. Now I'm lightly rolling this bat. Obviously you can come in here, we charge $11 if you've got a bat from elsewhere. You can get this done pretty much straight away. And bats do lose moisture over a period of time. So now that bat now has not got any marks on it. So it's always a good idea. But don't be afraid. I mean, marks generally do happen. See, marks at the end of the process, we've got a ball on an actual mallet to test the bat out if it still marks. If it does, on day 5 we'll give it another roll. And that concludes our little video. I hope you gained a bit of knowledge from that. Thank you.
Red button.